I request everybody to please settle down. You will have a chance to meet all your friends during dinner. Good evening once again, and welcome to the second Fight for Justice Awards brought to you by the Delhi High Court, Bar Association and Live4Freedom. The Fight for Justice Awards is a unique, first of its kind initiative to identify and honor Indian citizens who have won cases against all odds in the Supreme Court and other courts. The idea for Fight for Justice Awards was floated by Sunil Mangal, one of the partners of Live4Freedom. He was caught in a protracted litigation with one of India's major real estate companies. As he interacted with the legal fraternity and other litigants, he realized that there was no forum to acknowledge the courage and perseverance of litigants. Sunil, along with Anand Bharadwaj and Navroz Modi, set up Live4Freedom, an organization that would take up social causes in areas such as justice, wildlife, and others. The awards are endorsed by the Delhi High Court Bar Association and owes a lot to the association's unstinting support. We are delighted that we have with us this evening Justice N Kotiswar Singh, the Hon'ble Judge of the Supreme Court of India, as our chief guest for the award ceremony. I request all of you to please give a huge round of applause for our chief guest, Justice Singh. I will request Justice Rajendra Menon, Chairman, Armed Forces Tribunal and former Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court and the Chair of the Jury of the Fight for Justice Awards, Mr. Mohit Mathur, President of the Delhi High Court Bar Association, Mr. Jatin Singh, Vice President of the Delhi High Court Bar Association, Mr. Sandeep Sharma, Honorary Secretary of the Delhi High Court Bar Association, and the partners of Live4Freedom, Mr. Sunil Mangal, Mr. Navroz Modi, and Mr. Anand Bharadwaj, to please accompany our chief guest onto the stage. Please give a huge round of applause to our esteemed dignitaries making their way onto the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, may I mention once again that we are honored to have with us the Honorable Judge of the Supreme Court, Justice N Kotiswar Singh. As our chief guest, I request all of you to please welcome him to this evening's event with a hearty round of applause. I would request Mr. Jatin Singh and Mr. Sunil Mangal to present a bouquet each to our chief guest and our jury chair. I would request Mr. Jatin Singh to present a bouquet to Justice Kotiswar Singh. And I request Mr. Sunil Mangal to please present a bouquet to Justice Rajendra Menon. Thank you. I request our esteemed dignitaries to please take their seats on stage. May I now request the President of the Delhi High Court Bar Association, Mr. Mohit Mathur, to please welcome the awardees and the invited guests to the event. Please give a huge round of applause to Mr. Mohit Mathur.
Honorable Justice Koteshwar Singh, Judge, Supreme Court of India, and the chief guest for today, Justice Rajendra Menon, Chairman, Armed Forces Tribunal, and former Chief Justice of our Delhi High Court, and also the Chairman of the Jury for the Fight for Justice Awards. The other honorable members of the jury, Justice Kalam Chaudhary, former Judge, Delhi High Court, Justice Chalakura, former Judge, Telangana High Court, Mr. Rajshekhar Rao, Mr. Vikas Pava, and Mr. Maninder Singh, senior advocates. Shri Sanjay Singh, former Special Commissioner of Police, Delhi, who all helped in ultimately coming to the decisions. Mr. Anand Bhardwaj, Mr. Navroz Dodi, Mr. Sunil Mangal, and other officers of the Live4Freedom organization, members of the Executive Committee of the Delhi High Court Bar Association, other legal luminaries, the award winners for today, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to all at this second edition for the Fight for Justice Awards, organized by Delhi High Court Bar Association and Live4Freedom LLP. Last year, when this idea of these Fight for Justice Awards was conceived, there was some skepticism about its acceptance amongst the fraternity. Yet, the Delhi High Court Bar Association and our partners, Live4Freedom, were confident throughout that the litigants need to be recognized and honored for their tireless efforts to evolve the law and seek justice. Thereafter, when we finally held it last year in December, the response was so overwhelming that we were encouraged to continue it for the following years. Litigation in India has been in a nascent state as compared to attained independence or sovereignty much prior to us, and is not without its challenges and drawbacks. Despite these advancements, our country has made significant progress, and the doyens of the bar, along with the distinguished figures of the bench, have played a crucial role in upholding the rule of law in our courts over these years. While judges and lawyers have often been showered with laurels and celebrated for their contributions to the justice system, there remains a group of citizens whose efforts have gone unacknowledged. The Fight for Justice Award stands as a beacon of hope and resilience, a novel initiative by the Delhi High Court Bar in collaboration with Live4Freedom. These awards are designed to honor a group of people who, in many ways, are the unsung heroes of the legal system, the litigants themselves. While lawyers and judges play a pivotal role in the courtroom, it is often the individuals who come seeking justice, ordinary citizens with extraordinary courage, who truly exemplify the spirit of our judicial process. For some, approaching the courts may seem like a natural step, backed by privilege, resources, or knowledge of law. But for many, especially the common man, this journey is daunting. It is a path filled with uncertainty, stretching over long periods, draining financial resources, and often challenging one's faith in the system itself. Yet, despite these overwhelming odds, there are those who stand firm, unwavering in their commitment to seek justice. They may be fighting for a personal right or standing up for a cause that will benefit countless others, but their strength is their perseverance. Their belief is what is just and right, and their trust is in the rule of law. India's legal landscape has witnessed a remarkable rise in social cause litigations where concerned citizens and groups have stepped forward to challenge social injustices, discrimination, and negligence by both private entities and the state. These cases brought forth in the interest of society at large serve as a powerful instrument for those who have no other means to assert their rights. Litigants who take on these causes transcend personal interests and engage in the noble pursuit of justice for marginalized communities, disaster victims, and other vulnerable groups who may not otherwise have access to the courts. We have witnessed many litigants who have brought cases to address structural inequalities deeply rooted in the Indian society, from pushing for more stringent laws to curb atrocities against Dalits and women, to fight for the rights of LGBTQ plus communities. These cases have not only brought judicial attention to systemic issues, but have also changed the discourse around equality and social justice. Another significant area of public interest litigation has been the compensation for those affected by natural calamities or even industrial disasters. More recently, PILs have been filed to seek compensation and support for victims of natural disasters like floods, cyclones, and landslides, etc. These litigants push for robust rehabilitation policies, ensuring that affected individuals are not left to bear the burden of state or corporate failure. These litigants who have brought to light issues that affect the nation as a whole are shaping a legal culture that values meaningful engagement with the justice system. This stands in contrast to the rising problem of frivolous litigation, where the courts are bogged down by cases filed with intent to harass or delay proceedings. By reorganizing and honoring litigants who pursue meaningful causes, like those advancing for disaster victims or challenging discriminatory practices, the judiciary and society can encourage a shift away from trivial disputes that waste judicial resources. Encouraging litigation that are socially motivated not only prioritizes justice for those who need it most, but also helps create a legal environment where the courts are seen as forums for addressing larger societal issues. This helps filter out cases that lack substance or merit, as court can focus their resources on impactful litigations that bring systemic changes. Ultimately, honoring such litigants through initiatives like Fight for Justice Awards promotes a culture of responsibility and integrity in legal proceedings. By setting a precedent that rewards meaningful litigation, the legal community can inspire future generation of lawyers and citizens to take up public interest causes. This not only strengthens the judiciary's role as a protector of constitutional rights, but also helps the society progress towards a more equitable and just future. Through the Fight for Justice Awards, we shine a light on those remarkable individuals, these upstanding citizens who were undeterred in their pursuit of justice, who refused to be silenced by the burden of time, the cost of litigation, or the complexity of the legal procedures. These individuals embody the highest ideals of civic responsibility. Whether they fought for a single person or for the betterment of a society as a whole, their stories inspire us all. It is my firm belief that these awards offer more than a recognition. They provide a platform that restores and reaffirms our collective faith in the justice system. They remind us that fighting the good fight is not just the responsibility of the legal fraternity, but of every citizen who dares to believe in fairness, justice, equity, and truth. Each of these honorees stand as a testament to the fact that justice may sometimes be delayed, but it is never beyond the reach for those who are determined to fight for it. In honoring these courageous individuals, we are reminded of the power of perseverance, of the strength found in conviction, and of the promise that justice will prevail, not just for the privileged, but for every person who steps into a courtroom believing in the sanctity of the law. Let us all take a moment to applaud their bravery, for in their pursuit of justice, they uplift us all. I hope this initiative by the DHCBA, in collaboration with Live4Freedom, encourages and promotes needful, meaningful litigation in the interest of the greater good, as opposed to personal gains and other such petty considerations. I thank all the members of the jury and the fantastic team of the young lawyers who assisted us in identifying these heroes who brought forth pressing issues before our courts and persevered in their pursuit of tangible justice. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Indeed, these litigants have reinforced the belief in the rule of law. That's very heartening. Selecting the winners of the Fight for Justice Awards is a painstaking process. The process for each award category, the nominees for each award categories have to be chosen after going through hundreds of judgments. The jury then has to be meticulous and totally impartial in choosing the winner from the list of. May I now invite Justice Rajendra Menon, Chairman, Armed Forces Tribunal and former Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court, and the Chair of the Jury Fight for Justice Awards, to share with us the deliberations that went behind choosing the award winners.
Good evening. Justice Kotiswar Singh, Judge, Supreme Court of India. Justice Johri, Judge, Delhi High Court. Shri Mohit Mathur, President, Delhi High Court Bar Association. Shri Jatan Singh, Vice President, Delhi High Court Bar Association. Shri Saurabh Sharma, Secretary, Delhi High Court Bar Association. Shri Anand Bharadwaj, Sunil Mangal, and Navroz for the Fight for Justice. Shri Kailash Gambhir, my guide and partner in the jury. All other jury members, distinguished guests, senior advocates, ladies and gentlemen. We are into the second edition of the Fight for Justice Award. When Mohit and Jatan talked to me last year around June 2023, asking me to head the jury for Fight for Justice, I could not say no to them because of my association with the Delhi High Court, the Delhi High Court Bar Association, and the aim with which the awards were being instituted. And when I interacted with Mr. Anand Bharadwaj and Sunil Mangal, I came to know the cause for which they are fighting, and I had to say yes. The jury had mostly the same members. Few members have been changed, but Justice Kailash Gambhir and Justice Kodandaram of Telangana High Court and me were the three persons who were already there. We were not aware as to how to go about it. It was the first time that I have been entrusted with a task, and one of the conditions was that in the crusade for fight for justice, no lawyer or no judge should be awarded. It should be the litigant himself who has been the cause for getting a landmark judgment or doing something in the quest for justice for the society and the downtrodden. And that made our task more difficult. Somehow we managed it, and the credit for that goes to the research team, who are all young budding lawyers working as law clerks or research scholars, the judges of the Delhi High Court. When we concluded last year's function at Lalit Hotel and we got the results and feedbacks, we were delighted, and therefore we again thought of a second edition. We started our work sometime in June 2024, and we finalized the list just 10 days back, and here we are before you to reveal what we have done, and it is for you to judge us as to whether we have done something good or bad. You are free to tell us what you feel, criticize us, and make us aware of our shortcomings so that we can improve in the future if the Delhi High Court and Fight for Justice still wants us to continue with this assignment of theirs. The task was difficult, primarily because we were to assess the role of the litigant. What was his role in fighting the case either in the High Court or the Supreme Court? How much efforts he has put? What was the resistance from the system and the society in dealing with the issue? And even if there was a lawyer representing the organization or the individual, we had to select cases where the individual was also responsible for doing something which could be classified as an exceptional work in the fight basically against the system. And therefore, that made our task more difficult. I would like to thank individually the members of my jury and the young lawyers who stood by us during all the last few months in their research and feeding us with all the data. My jury members were Justice Kailash Gambhir, former judge, Delhi High Court, Justice Chella Kodaram, former judge, Telangana High Court, he is not present today. Mr. Mohit Mathur, senior advocate. He was the only member from the jury, from the Delhi High Court Bar Association who was with us in the jury. Shri Rajeshwar Rao, senior advocate. He is not here today. He has his excuse from all of you. Shri Vikas Pahwa, Senior Advocate. Shri Maninder Singh, Senior Advocate. And we had a special guest in our jury who was of great help to us, and that is Mr. Sanjay Singh, IPS officer and former Commissioner of Delhi Police. His feedback on various issues were very important. The young members of the research team, I would like each one of you who is present here to please come on stage and introduce yourself so that the audience can see you. You have done a tremendous work, and I candidly admit that without them, this would not have been possible. All are advocates practicing in the Delhi High Court. Abhishek Buddhi Raja, Aranya Shah, Andirit Dev, Ruchika Sharma, Megha Saxena, Aranshu Tikku, Anushka Gupta, Siddharth Singh, Ananya Khanna, and Ahes Puri. Two of them, Ananya and Asas, are not here. Just when we were finishing the work of our selection, both of them got selected for doing post-graduation in the United Kingdom, and they have left for their studies. So you can imagine what was the quality of the research team we had with us for assisting us. These are the young people. We only told them these are the categories in which we want the awards to be given. Last year, we had 8 categories. This year, we increased it to 11, and then gave them some ideas as to what sort of judgments we want, what sorts of cases they have to take out, and they would give us hundreds of cases. Now you can imagine it's very difficult to read all the 100 cases and come to a conclusion. And therefore, in the meetings, we would tell them we'll be taking up this category today, and they would brief us on the judgment, the antecedent of the litigant, what they did, and what are the legal issues decided. Most of us, 3 of us heading the team, were judges, and therefore they used to withstand our brushing and ragging, because as if we were hearing a case in the court, we used to ask questions to them and ask them as to why have you selected it. And ultimately I had to remember sometime that I am not hearing a matter in the court. I am asking these young men to just guide me in selecting somebody. Anyhow, they had all the details. They would even know where the litigant is as on date. They would tell us, sir, you can select this man, but this man does not stay in India anymore, he's in Italy. They would also tell us, sir, if you want, we can talk to them and find out whether they can come to India for the award or not. So the information they had was really, I cannot say what all work they would have done, how many midnight oil they would have burned for this day to come. And if we have been able to shortlist the candidate and do it, it is because of the work of all these young boys and girls. Please give them a big hand. Thank you very much. So friends, Mohit had in detail discussed or highlighted before you what are the aims and objects of this award function. I have made a note of it, but it would be repetition of what Mohit has said. I don't want to waste much time. My duty was to appreciate the work done by these children, and Justice Kailash Gambhir was another person who used to assist me in taking a decision. The lawyers of Delhi High Court know him more than I know him, and you can know how difficult it is to work with him and get him to agree on something. He would have so many queries and thereafter, but he would say, कि मेनन साहब आप सोच रहे हो ऐसा ठीक ही है, चलने दीजिए. So friends, we tried to do something which we thought is good for the society. For the purpose of dispensation of justice, we should always encourage litigants who want to fight for justice, fight against the system, and come out with flying colors doing justice to the society. Thank you very much for having me, giving this opportunity. And before parting, I would like to thank the Delhi High Court Bar Association and the organizers and the office bearers of Fight for Justice for having bestowed so much faith in me and having given me this opportunity to head this jury. Thank you very much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, sir, for sharing the jury process of the Fight for Justice Awards. I request the young lawyers who've already come up on stage to take a seat. We'll call you back in just a while, but till then, get comfortable, because now we will hear from our Honorable Chief Guest, Justice N Kotiswar Singh. I request sir to please deliver the keynote address. Please give a huge round of applause to Justice N Kotiswar Singh.
Good morning to everyone present here today. Respected Honorable Justice Rajendra Menon, Chairman, Armed Forces Tribunal and former Chief Justice of Delhi High Court, with whom I had the privilege of being associated in his lawsuit was the Judge, Madhya Pradesh High Court, and various other occasions in National Judicial Academy. Mr. Mohit Mathur, President of the Delhi High Court Bar Association, Sri Jatan Singh, Vice President, Delhi High Court Bar Association, Sandeep Sharma, Honorary Secretary, Delhi High Court Bar Association, Sunil Mangal, Partner, Live4Freedom, Navroz Dhondi, Partner, Live4Freedom, Anand Bhardwaj, Partner, Live4Freedom, and other honorable judges, senior advocates, lawyers, students, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed an honor and privilege for me to be amongst these extraordinary persons, and some of whom will be celebrating their achievements in strengthening the rule of law in this country, and those who are not from the legal fraternity necessarily, most of them, who have shown us that justice is not reserved for a privileged, but is a right that every citizen is entitled to, as we have proudly proclaimed when we adopted the Constitution on the 26th of November 1949. We have assembled here to honor the perseverance, the relentless courage and unwavering faith of the citizens, especially those who have met this occasion, who have been responsible for making all of us come here to honor them, their unwavering faith in the rule of law. The Fight for Justice Awards is not just a ceremony, as I've been listening intently. In fact, it's the first time I have come across this wonderful group of people, not only espousing justice, but also strengthening the whole concept of justice in this country. And it is a testament to the enduring strength of the Indian judicial system and also the strength of our democratic values and the people from whom we derive our strength. These awards highlight the incredible efforts of individuals who have stood up against injustice and powerful and fought, often at great personal cost, to ensure that truth prevails. Francis Yoshihiro Fukuyama, in his classic book, The End of History and the Last Man, argues that ushering of the democratic society, with this ushering of this democratic society, the human civilization, the humanities, has achieved perhaps the highest possible attainment in terms of social organization, in terms of social institutions. What it says is that perhaps there may not be any other alternative political system which may go beyond democracy. Well, of course, these are critics of him also, but I feel that with democracy, we have reached a stage of human civilization, our organization, our society, our institutions, which we have proudly adopted when some of the best minds of the modern India framed this Indian Constitution. And we have decided to adopt this way of life, which is epitomized in the preamble to the Constitution. All of us, especially in the legal fraternity, are well acquainted with the preamble. It starts with these words, "We the people." In fact, what is seen is that many of the lawyers, not about forget the other general populace, we always tend to forget this preamble and start reading straight away to articles. Chapter 3, Chapter 4, Part 4, all this. Articles 14, 19, 21. The most important part of the Constitution is to be found in the preamble, which proudly proclaims that we, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into sovereign democratic republic, and what follows is very important, and to secure to all its citizens what? Justice, liberty, equality, fraternity, and dignity of the individual, something which is so important. And these are the principles, concepts, what I feel is the core of any democratic society. More than 75 years down the years, in spite of several challenges faced by the society in various fronts, we have seen that the rule of law and democratic principles have been strengthened. There have been setbacks. Students of history, students of political science can read easily, but we have bounced back. That is because of the faith we have in our democratic institutions and the rule of law. This has been possible because of this strength of the institutions, especially the Indian judiciary, and the heroic struggles of these individuals whom we are honoring today. Therefore, I see that today, in spite of various challenges, apparent shortcomings in our society, we see the flowering of democracy in the real sense of the term. In the words of Victor Hugo, nothing else in the world, not all the armies, is so powerful as an idea whose time has come. This thought aligns with the spirit of individuals we honor today. We have been instrumental in bringing about changes in the society to align with the democratic values which we have already adopted through our constitution. These individuals are not practicing lawyers or judges, but from various walks of life who have shown an extraordinary commitment to justice. They remind us that anyone, regardless of their background, has a right to challenge the system when it fails to uphold fairness. It is people like them who breathe into life the ideals of justice and equality as enshrined in our Constitution. As we reflect on this significance of this function to award, recognize these works done by these wonderful people, we also have a glimpse of the growth of our Indian judicial system, which have been already spoken by the previous speaker also. The Supreme Court of India also has undergone a profound transformation from the earlier days when it was adopting a very conservative mode. The court was primarily concerned with the resolution of disputes between parties, trying to understand the scope of the Constitution, the role of the courts, specifically after the introduction of this 226 extraordinary jurisdiction, which was unheard of. It was not part of the legal system. And we must remember that when the Constitution was adopted, after the freedom struggle, when we got independent, many of the judges were trained in that colonial mode. Therefore, they had to adapt themselves to this new transformed society. And Constitution would be the guiding guide to go ahead in our society. Now, from this conservative mode, the court also realized that if you have to face the challenges which continuously gets evolved with multifarious facets, multi-layered problems, the court had to take a proactive role. Therefore, we see that subsequently in the phase of 1960s and 70s, the court taking a correction course, trying to grapple with the problems, the real problems of the people, of the citizens of this country, and also realize the importance of the rule of law and the fundamental rights. That's why we have seen this Golaknath case. I do not wish to go in detail about that. How this whole foundation of the foundation of our was laid of the basic theory, and also to inform the Parliament that yes, you cannot tinker with the fundamental rights. Keshwananda Bharti, it ultimately propounded this theory and made it plainly clear, yes, this is a democratic country, society, where certain basic values which are enshrined in the Constitution cannot be tinkered with, cannot be changed by the brute force in the Parliament. That's one of the greatest, I think, development in Indian judicial system. The whole basic, this concept of basic structure. And it was soon followed by the famous Maneka Gandhi case, what we call passport. It just arose out of the impounding of a passport or too poor to approach the court the traditional methodologies of concept of locus standi also needs to be revised. That's how that led to the, ultimately, it was firmly embedded in our legal system in the famous SP Gupta case, where the concept of locus standi firmly entrenched that it does not necessarily lie with the aggrieved persons only. It can go beyond that, provided there is an element of public interest. So the court observed that where a legal wrong or legal injury is caused to a person or to a determinate class of persons by reason of violation of any of the constitutional or legal right, and such person or determinate class of person is by reasons of poverty, helplessness, or disability, or socially or economically disadvantaged position, unable to approach the court for any relief, any member of the public can maintain an application for an appropriate direction, writ, or order. I will not go there until number of cases, but always whenever a student of law, it always rings in our mind, Hussain Ara Khatun. That's a very unfortunate case where some of these under trial prisoners who have been undergoing detention for periods longer than if they had been convicted of the crime they have been accused of. And there were people like Kapila Hingorani who played a stellar role, who is also known as the mother of PIL, who filed a number of habeas corpus on their behalf and brought to the fore our Indian judicial system. Yes, there is a section of people who have been utterly ignored, and they need that to attain to give that dignity which we had already promised to ourselves when we adopted the constitution need to be underscored. It broadened this whole concept of Hussain Ara, this PIL, and in fact, if you see that most of us who are aware, involved in the legal service authority, though this legal service authority, this act was enacted in 1987, the seats were sown in this time, during this period, this tumultuous judicial period, where the court became much more proactive, which made the parliament also think, yes, there's something which required to be done to address this problem, especially for the disadvantaged people, sections of society, to make it and have this access to justice meaningful. This is a time also we have seen the emergence of the human rights jurisprudence. I just give an example. This Sunil Batra case also. Very remarkable how it has transformed the whole concept of ensuring that the individuals must be given dignity. We all know that whenever a person was arrested, he would be handcuffed, paraded. I said, this is not done. The Supreme Court said, no, you can't do this. He's innocent till he's proved guilty in accordance with law. And you can't treat him like a convict. You cannot do this. These are directions issued. And in fact, when this Hussain Ara Khatun case was being argued in the Supreme Court, as the legal aid, regarding the issue of legal aid, the court said, okay, the person who had come, had filed the application, they said, okay, we'll give them. Because the problem was that many of these who were languishing in the jails could not get the bail because they couldn't afford a lawyer. They could not execute the bail bonds, security bonds, and they could not do so because without the help of a lawyer. Then the Supreme Court said, why don't you provide lawyers to these under trials? The Advocate General of the Bihar was representing, said, Your Lordship, we can provide a couple of lawyers to these under trials, but how can we provide to so many under trials? It's not possible. We don't have the financial resources. There the Supreme Court said very categorically, when it comes to liberty, you cannot take this plea of financial difficulties. You must provide each and every under trial who is languishing in the jail must be provided to the lawyer. So those were the formative stage of legal aid, the concept of access to justice. Now ultimately it led to the enactment of this Legal Service Authorities Act, and we have a organization. In fact, I remember talking to some in one of my lectures. See, India is such a vast country, and if you see the political parties, any political party you see, name it, they have almost some kind of, especially national parties, they have their party offices in most of the districts, most of the talukas. But I said, but there is one non-political party, an organization, institution, which you find in each and every taluka, and they are functional. That is the Legal Service Authorities. Every state has a Legal Service Authority. Every district has a Legal Service Authority. Every taluka has a Legal Service. And there are wonderful paralegal volunteers, what we call PLVs, who are in constant touch. See, in politics, a political party may have their branches or their offices in all the districts, but they may not be in communication. Every district will have their own priorities. But here in the Legal Service Authority of Hon'ble Justice, many of us also knows very well how we interact. In fact, I remember said in Kashmir, when I was in Kashmir, see, this is an organization. Suppose one of your friends or relatives goes to Tamil Nadu for study or for medical treatment, and he gets lost or something gets stolen. He has a problem. How do you reach out? You immediately connect. If you say that he has gone to Madras, connect through the Legal Service Authority in Srinagar, you talk to the member secretary in Madras, and he'll in turn pass on this message to various districts to see where he is. So there's immediate, we have a kind of connectivity all over the country, which is unheard of actually. I don't think there's any other institution in modern India which functions in a pan-India manner, reaches to the grassroots. Actually, very fascinating. Many people do not know, unfortunately, how our legal system binds this country. I'm of the firm view that this is an institution, like you say IS, they say that is the backbone, still, frame of India. Very well, it does. But judicial system is an institution which brings us all together on the same principle, irrespective of the caste, community, reason, language we speak of. We are bound by the same legal principles, which is enshrined in the Constitution of India. We speak the same language, actually, same legal language, which is understood by anybody. Therefore, if I am transferred to Kerala also, I may have a difficulty in, getting used to the food, but I would have no problem in dealing with the cases there because we are trained to, address the issues on the same similar legal principles. Therefore, my firm belief is that perhaps this legal system, which has been enriched by these wonderful persons, is perhaps one of the few institutions in this country which binds this country together. Well, mentioning about the PIL, again, I do not wish to go too much because time is short, but I have to remember some of the very important landmark decisions, I must honestly, like Vishaka. I remember the judgment for those students of law would read, because that's also an area, very, very delicate area, because the Supreme Court was laying down these norms and making it clear. This is the law till the parliament makes a law, institution or statute. You have to follow this. I remember there was critics, there are still critics, that the court is crossing the Lakshman Rekha. Court is entrenching upon a legislative area which is reserved for the legislation, for the parliament. But then it remained, and the parliament ultimately had to enact an act also in more or less similar terms, without much. And the Supreme Court went out of the Indian, not only Indian law, but reached out to the other international covenants, instruments, to frame these wonderful guidelines. We have this, and to talk of, and coming to the more contemporary time today. Now, for example, the case of T.N. Govardhan, Godavarman, Tirumalpat, is another important case which is still being handled by the Supreme Court, the PIL in the form of, which was filed by a retired forest officer. And we have seen the expanse of the directions which the court has been issuing from time to time to deal with various issues relating to environment. In fact, through a continuous mandamus, not one-time instance of issuing any mandamus, but a continuous process of, this is the concept of continuous mandamus, the court would issue directions from time to time to various states, various departments to ensure that our environment is protected. It also brings to my mind this organization Common Cause. I'm sure it must have been received a lot of attention and also acknowledgement from the legal fraternity of the various cases filed, especially the founder H.D. Shuri, who himself was a great crusader for the people's cause. In fact, what he said in one of his articles that why am I sticking my neck out? Because that is what a neck is for. Is it not? See, in this approach, so many cases were filed, so many important directions were issued from time to time. When these have been possible, these have not been possible in a normal litigation, cases which come up. These are possible because of this very dedicated, committed citizens of this country, who's left their life, their own private life in background, and spend their time before the court. And court, when I speak of court again, that's another something. Most of you who are not from the legal fraternity, I don't think you will have a very great fascination of the court. I don't think you would love to visit a courtroom. I mean, you would love to visit, beautiful auditorium, center. But I don't think by any mistake you would like to roam inside and see how the court functions. This is not a place to go. The kind of the perception we have, and fortunately, thankfully, I think with the entry of young, talented students of law, young, talented judges in the judiciary, because in my time in 60s, maybe I don't know about, I can't comment on Justice Menon, till our times, 80s, law was the last resort for those who did not get anywhere. So, chale jao, mil jata hai admission, na? Law, just walk in the law faculty, chalo, form bhar do, then you get it. Otherwise, you won't get it in other subjects, So, there were a lot of, out of 100, 90 would be doing that. And of course, many of them for UPSC exam, or DTC bus, in our time it was 12 and a half, I think, if I am correct, na? Yellow wala jo hai na, it's a great thing, I mean, if you have that, you can go around Delhi, except for Tibra Mudrika. But you see the change in our legal education also. Tremendous. In fact, we pay respect to Professor Madhav Menon, who taught us also. We are lucky to be taught by Professor Madhav Menon. I remember he left CLC because he said he's going to Bangalore. That's the first national law university set up. Now, there was very few, couple of law universities which are being set up like a national law, but now you see almost every state. So attracting a lot of talented students also. So now students don't get enrolled in law out of frustration or something as a last, but as a first preference. Wonderful thing. So in turn, it is also producing wonderful lawyers. Because the lawyers, from where we'll get, we can't import lawyer from other civil service or something like that. Now, the lawyers have to be the LLB, the graduates in law, and judges also. In the British time, judges, there used to be ICS officer who would be appointed judges. But that's not possible in our system. You have to be a practicing lawyer, you have to be a lawyer, a judge, to be appointed a high court judge, and so on and so forth. So, in fact, the competition in judicial service has become so tough and very, very competitive. And one good thing also, what the trend which I have been seeing is that, I mean, I thought it's only trained in Manipur or Assam or JNK, but it train is everywhere. So the girls are outperforming the boys. Some of the judicial academy, I'm told Delhi also, out of 100, I think about more than 50% are girls. So I was jokingly telling these boys, see, you'll be a kind of, your species will be vanishing after some time. You take care of yourself. So, I mean, what I'm trying to say is that that's why I said there's a flowering of democracy in our country. In spite of all the problems, you read, you open the newspaper, you see all kind of news coming out, pathetic, shocking. But still, this country thrives, goes on. That's because of this wonderful, the very strong and robust legal system we have, which has been possible because of the contribution, not only the judges and lawyers, but also of these public-spirited individuals who have been spending their time for the society. Yes, I'm so happy that this in fact, the whole the award has been conceived. I think in which the Delhi High Court has played a very important role, and a very important role which Delhi High Court, I must, commend the Delhi High Court. Also a very important case that was in 2002, if I am not mistaken. Where there's a case filed by Association for Democratic Reforms. They wanted changes. You see, that people who are going to govern as elected members of the parliament, and what is their qualifications? See, let us not, I don't want to speak much on that, you all know. And what is their background? I mean, very few who had come from pilgrimage, places, but background, you see. So they said, we must decriminalize the system. So this Delhi High Court issued a number of directions and issued to the Election Commission of India, stating that you must secure the information from all these the candidates of the right of the voter to know of the credentials, the educational qualifications, of the background. Number one, whether the candidate is accused of any offences punishable with imprisonment, if so, the details thereof. Assets possessed by the candidates, we know that those who pauper, they become, after you become elected, your income tax return becomes totally different. Said, tell us, give us the information before they become elected. They can compare after they finish in the next election, they can compare. And also facts giving insight into candidates' competence, capacity and suitability for acting as a parliamentarian or legislature, including details of his or her educational qualifications. Information which the Election Commission considers necessary for judging the capacity and capability of political party fielding the candidate for election to parliament or state election. These directions were issued And the government of India, of course, the union, they were very agreeable. Why should the High Court interfere in all these matters? It's for the Parliament to elect, challenge it before the Supreme Court. Supreme Court said nothing to you. You have to comply with these directions. That was Union of India versus Association of Democratic Reforms. And made further directions also. So that's how we see this, the introduction now is ultimately this followed by long line of decisions. Ultimately the last line, the most famous, are electoral bonds. So all these have been possible because of these committed people working for introducing transparency and strengthening of our democratic system. Yes, before I understand, I am perhaps overshooting my time, but I have been invited to speak on a topic which is as vast as the ocean. No? If you say keep the ocean into a pond, so difficult. No? If you put water in a pond, you can't make out. So that the vastness of the ocean, the beauty of the ocean, the depth of the ocean, the vibrancy of the ocean, you don't find in a pond. So, I'm sorry, but I will just touch upon a couple of other just very important, because we are living today in a digital world, very dangerous world, very dangerous world. In fact, there have been seminars that is the AI going to replace the judges? The AI is so, and it's a serious topic. It's not just a kind of drawing room conversation. It is, seriously, Supreme Court judges, High Court judges, they are sitting, spending hours together on this issue. Is AI? I said, don't worry, judges. The AI will not catch up with you. And I am not going to threaten your post. You continue, because AI may be very efficient calculator, analyzer of things, but it doesn't have a mind, it doesn't have the heart which is necessary for doing justice. Otherwise, it's so, sometimes we get frustrated, as a judge, we get frustrated. I think, I wish there is a system where I, feed all these facts, petitions, counter affidavits, and ask SCC online to do the job. Online will do, that this is as per law, so they will dish out a judgment. It may be possible in disputes like, say, for example, say, traffic challan. It don't require too much of, mind. You have red light, you have jumped the signal. Very simple. Okay, AI can do all those stuff, but not others, because that's where the human heart, the principles, the values, which AI, maybe, I don't know. Some people say that AI will be responsible for creating certain robots who may think, who may also kind of feel. I don't know how possible, but that's where perhaps we are being too futuristic. But in this digital area, and the stellar role, all of us know about the Asriya Singhal's case also. And that's a kind of landmark, especially those, when the information technology was, and people were scared because the kind of menace it created. So the government also overreacted. No, we must stop all this. Then they imposed brought in Section 66A of the Information Technology Act, which made it punishable any kind of offensive content. Now, this was challenged, obviously, the Supreme Court has said, I don't need to discuss about it. Now, these are challenges as we enter into the digital era. There's a big challenge. Ultimately, again, any challenge, any issues, the problems which are spawned by this digital revolution which is taking place, ultimately, again, has to be decided based on the basic principle, the constitutional values. That's what we call the constitutional morality. There's another very important, kind of very interesting. We have not heard this constitutional morality just for a few years. The whole concept of constitutional morality is something it's a kind of new ideas, concepts being brought in, because we have to again be receptive to the new challenges which is coming up in our everyday life. I would not go further. I would just conclude with these few words that of course we have yet to see the wonderful persons who will be given this award, will be awards. But from what we have heard, we are indeed they represent their unwavering courage is a beacon of hope, illuminating the path for the others, exemplifying the remarkable achievements through perseverance and faith in a legal system. This triumph is not theirs alone. It belongs to every Indian who dares to dream of a society built on the pillars of justice and fairness. Let us take profound inspiration from these extraordinary individuals, and we celebrate as we celebrate today by honoring them. Their actions would inspire us to renew our commitment for forging a legal framework that is not only inclusive but also transparent and readily accessible to all. It is our collective responsibility to strive tirelessly, ensuring that no individual, regardless of their social status, economic condition, or powerlessness, ever feels that justice is beyond their reach. This is the cornerstone of a truly democratic and equitable society, and we must redouble our efforts to educate, empower, and engage all segments of the society in a legal process. We must work to demystify law, making it more comprehensible and accessible to the common man. Furthermore, we must strive to cultivate a culture of legal awareness and civic responsibility where every individual understands the rights and feels empowered to assert it. To the distinguished awardees, you will be showing us that the fight for justice is not for lawyers or judges or in other institutions. It is for every citizen who believes in the rule of law. You are embodiment of that belief, and we salute you today. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for reminding us that the fight for justice is worth every effort. You inspire us to be better citizens, to stand up for what is right, and to never lose sight of the fundamental principles. And of course, this organization, the Justice Freedom, Fight for Freedom, I mean, you are really doing a wonderful work because, see, there are so many unsung heroes who do their deeds and they never bother about to be in the limelight. But through your effortless, tireless, but happy that some of the young lawyers who have put in their efforts to find out. I mean, those who have not got the award doesn't mean that they are less recognizable. But the fact that we are making an effort to give due acknowledgement to those people who are strengthening the full fabric, the whole democracy thrives is so important. So today we must know one thing. Every country in this world thinks that they are democratic. If you open the constitution of any world, any country, it said so and so republic, democratic country. But do they really? It's not only what is written in the book, but it is how we practice also. It's very important. And how we practice is reflected by this commitment of these individuals. And I'm very, very privileged to be part of this function today in honoring this wonderful, extraordinary person. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, Justice Singh, for your insightful address. May I now request Mr. Hon'ble Bharadwaj, partner, Live4Freedom, to felicitate Justice Kotiswar Singh. I would request you to please present Justice Singh with a memento. We are grateful to you for coming here, sir, and this will be a memory of this event. Thank you so much for your words. Ladies and gentlemen, you will all agree that the most difficult part of any award ceremony is the role played by the jury. It is they who have to spend grueling hours going through the nominations and deciding on the appropriate winner in each category. The jury for these awards too had to put in many hours of hard work, and tonight we would like to acknowledge all of them. May I request our jury members for the Fight for Justice Awards who are with us today to please come up on stage. Justice Menon is on the stage with us, and I request the other jury members to please come up. Justice Kailash Kambir, former judge of the Delhi High Court. Justice Chala Kotanda Ram, former Justice Telangana High Court. He's not here with us, but off to Oxford for his... Okay. Mr. Sanjay Singh, former Special Commissioner of Police. Mr. Mohit Mathur, President, Delhi High Court Bar Association. Mr. Maninder Singh, Senior Advocate. I request him to come up on stage. And Mr. Rajasekhar Rao, Senior Advocate, is also the member of the jury, who couldn't join us, but we certainly acknowledge his invaluable contribution. I would request Mr. Sandeep Sharma, Honorary Secretary, Delhi High Court Bar Association, and Mr. Navil Sondi, Partner, Live4Freedom, to felicitate our jury members. First, memento for Justice Menon, the chair of the jury. One for Justice Kailash Kambir, former judge of the Delhi High Court. Mr. Sanjay Singh, former Special Commissioner of Police. Mr. Mohit Mathur, President, Delhi High Court Bar Association. And Mr. Maninder Singh, Senior Advocate. I request all of you to gather for a group photograph. Request our jury members who came up on stage, with the exception of Justice Menon, to please take their seats off the stage. Please give them a round of applause. They have done painstaking work in picking up the winning entries for the awards. Of course, you had a chance to be introduced to all the young lawyers who are part of the team of researchers who selected the nominees for each category. They have poured through hundreds of judgments to shortlist the nominees that were then presented to the jury members to deliberate upon. I would like to invite these researchers to come back on stage once again, and we would like to present you with mementos too. So please put your hands together and welcome on stage Mr. Abhishek Buddhiraja, Ms. Ruchika, Ms. Aranya Shah, Ms. Andrita Dev, Ms. Anushi Tikku, Ms. Meghna Saxena, and Ms. Anuksha Gupta. Two of the researchers, Ms. Ananya Khanna and S. Aspuri, have of course gone abroad for higher studies. I would like to call upon Justice Rajendra Menon to please felicitate the research team and present them with mementos. So I request you to present a memento to Mr. Abhishek Buddhiraj. So I request Justice Rajendra Menon to present Abhishek Gutiraja with memento. One for Ruchika Sharma. For Aranya Shah. Aranya is not here. One for Ms. Andrita Dev. One for Ms. Arushi Tikku. One for Meghna Saxena. And one for Ms. Anuksha Gupta. Okay, they're not here, but we would like to also appreciate the contribution of Ananya Khanna and Ehsan Puri. I think Ehsan Puri's mother is here. I wonder if we have the trophy. Siddhant Singh also contributed to this team of researchers. Gayatri Puri, mother of Ehsas Puri, is here, and we'll give her a trophy on behalf of her son, who has done commendable work in fighting these cases. Please give a round of applause to all our young lawyers who are part of the research team. Kudos to your effort. Now I request our guests to take the seats off stage. We'll take a little bit of freedom, and we are going to come have a very interesting session on the Bhartiya Nyaya Sanhita, and we have very special speakers who are going to deliberate on this, and we are privileged to have them with us. I request all of you to please settle down. Please take your seats. We have an important Bharata program coming up. And of course, the awards will follow soon. So please settle down and take your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, the Bhartiya Nyaya Sanhita BNS Act 2023 replaced the Indian Penal Code IPC of 1860, marking a significant shift in India's criminal law. The new law aims to modernize and address issues emerging in contemporary society. We are delighted to have with us two very eminent speakers, Justice Manoj Kumar Bori, the Hon'ble Judge of the High Court of Delhi, and Mr. Mohammed Mathur, Senior Advocate and President of the Delhi High Court Bar Association. I request Justice Ori, Mr. Mathur, and Mr. Maninder Singh, Senior Advocate, to please come up on the stage. Over the next few minutes, they will be sharing their insights on the Bhartiya Nyaya Sanhita, its good points, and possibly some of its shortcomings. I request everybody to please clear the aisles and settle down. Request everybody to please be seated. I would request the podium. So we've got the gun mic. I request everybody to please clear the aisles and please settle down. We are ready to start with this very important talk on the Bhartiya Nyaya Sanhita, which has replaced the Indian Penal Code. I'll hand it over to Mr. Singh to steer this discussion. He's the moderator for this session.
He has a flight of 6:15 p.m. 6:15 a.m. So first,
Justice
Hon'ble
Singh, Hon'ble Justice Kanan, Hon'ble Justice Kailash. Friends, can I request you to sit down, please? The food is going to be a little late. Please sit down, and the cocktails are not going to start till the time we go there. So it's a very interesting discussion on the Bhartiya Nyaya Sanhita. Suddenly I realized, बचपन से सुनते आ रहे थे ये आदमी बड़ा 420 है, अब वो 318 सब क्लोज 4 हो गया. And it's, it's very surprising. Sometimes even when we are arguing in court, we still stick to 482, 439, 438, and we don't get away from the sections which we've been taught in college, and we've been following it up. Today, among us are two. I don't have any words. They don't need any introduction. The best in the field of criminal law, Honorable Justice Ori, my friend, Mr. Mohammed Mathur, President of the High Court Bar Association. I've seen Justice Ori as a prosecutor, as a exceptional lawyer, as a senior advocate, and now as the judge of the High Court. It's an amazing experience. It's fun to be in his court. He's very witty, very understanding, but very ruthless at times. And honestly, the criminal law, I don't think anybody can be more appropriate to discuss BNS with us today. And I request Justice Ori to give his insight and some inputs to the young members of the bar as well as to us, because it's equally the same with all of us, because we started understanding it on 1st of July 2024. So can I have your please?
Hon'ble Mr. Justice N Kotiswar Singh, Judge Supreme Court of India, Mr. Justice Rajendra Menon, Chairman, Armed Forces Tribunal and former Chief Justice Delhi High Court, Justice Bari, former Judge Delhi High Court, Justice Kailash former Judge Delhi High Court, the entire team of DHCBA and Live4Freedom, senior advocates, ladies and gentlemen, Namaskar and good evening. I must begin by congratulating DHCBA and team of Live4Freedom for successfully organizing the second Fight for Justice Awards. This initiative seeks to honor the common citizens who have steadfastly fought for their rights in courts and ended up being part of landmark judgments which have laid down the law, benefiting many others in the same situation as them. As the justice dispensation mechanism of our country has matured over the years since independence, there has been a marked shift in how the public and the courts perceive litigation. There has been an increased participation by the public in the court process with the introduction of, as Justice Koteshwar highlighted, public interest litigation. When concerned citizens approach the courts with problems wherein they themselves might not be affected personally, but the issue is one which affects society at large, the courts have not shied away from taking a more proactive approach as compared to the traditional adversarial system to ensure increased access to justice for the disadvantaged and bridge the gap between the court and the citizenry. After all, you and I exist because there is a litigant who comes to court looking for justice. As we all know, the criminal justice system has undergone a complete overhaul with the enactment of three new laws, the Bhartiya Nyaya Sanhita, Bhartiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, and Bhartiya Sakshya Adhiniyam. These changes range from something as simple as structure and numbering of sections to new definitions, addition of new offences, increase in the quantum of punishment provided for old offences, and introduction of provisions promoting reformative justice. Today, since we are recognizing litigants who have persistently and successfully fought for their rights, I would be discussing some cases wherein, due to efforts of some proactive citizens, the courts have laid down certain progressive interpretations which have now been clothed with legislative sanction by including them in the BNS. I must begin by mentioning the case of Nalsa. This is a landmark case which comes to my mind as being the result of labors of public litigants which has elaborately dealt with the issue of rights of transgender persons. In this case, Nalsa filed a writ petition in Supreme Court on behalf of the members of the transgender community, wherein they had alleged violation of their fundamental rights. Petitions were also filed by another organization, Pujya Mata Nasib Kaur Ji Women Welfare Society, seeking similar reliefs in respect of Kinnar community. It is their concerted efforts which set the ball rolling for the change. The court reinforced the transgender community rights to privacy, self-identity, autonomy, and personal integrity, acknowledging that legal recognition of gender identity was essential for ensuring dignity and freedom under Article 21. The court also emphasized the need for formal recognition of their third gender and affirmed the right of transgender individuals to self-identity. This landmark judgment led to the enactment of Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act 2019, and now the import of that decision has found its way into the BNS, which in definition clause 210, while defining gender, while clarifying who the pronoun he and its derivatives would apply to, now apart from male and female, also includes transgenders. Thus, due to the efforts of these litigants, the rights laid down in 2014, now a decade later, have been crystallized into the BNS. Another case, the 2013 Independent Thought, a child rights organization, filed a writ petition in public interest before the Supreme Court. Petitioners alleged this provision violated the rights of a married girl child between the ages of 15 and 18 years. Since in all other instances under the IPC, the age of consent for sexual intercourse was 18 years. Petition sought clarification and harmonization of Exception 2 with existing law on child marriage and children's right. Supreme Court held that Exception 2 did not create a reasonable classification and was violative of Article 14 and 21. To harmonize it with the POCSO and fundamental rights, it was deemed necessary to read Exception 2 as saying that only sexual intercourse with a wife above 18 years of age was not rape. Now, Exception 2 to Section 63 of BNS has increased the age at which the exception applies from 15 to 18, and the anomaly which was highlighted in Independent Thought has finally been rectified. This is another example of how public litigants can, through active engagement with the court, can lay down the seeds of change. In 2017, Joseph Shine, an Indian citizen living in Italy, filed a petition in public interest challenging the constitutional validity of Section 497, which dealt with the offence of adultery. Court held that Section 497 was archaic and constitutionally invalid as it stripped a woman of her autonomy, dignity, and privacy and struck it down. Court reaffirmed sexual privacy as a natural right and under the Constitution. This section now has been removed in the Sanhita, putting a legislative end to this section, which had outlived the time it was enacted, in which was to the autonomy and dignity of a woman. Once again, it is evident that efforts of public citizens have led to the refinement of the statute. Another case, Navtej Singh Johar, a choreographer who was identified as part of the LGBT community, filed a petition in Supreme Court in 2016, seeking recognition to the right of sexuality, right to sexual autonomy, to be part of right to life guaranteed under Article 21. He has sought a declaration that Section 377 be declared unconstitutional. The 5-judge constitutional bench of the Supreme Court unanimously held that 377 of IPC, insofar as it applied to consensual sexual conduct between adults in private, was unconstitutional. It is noteworthy that noticing your Supreme Court had only watered down Section 377 to exclude from its coverage relation between two consenting adults, but in BNS, the provision has been done away with altogether. This case is a prime example of where the litigants in their quest for justice didn't get disheartened by the adverse outcomes, and in the end, their persistence paid off. In the end, it is essential that vigilant citizens are made aware of these changes so that they can exercise their rights in a more informed and effective manner and play a active role in assisting the courts in dispensing justice. After all, the entire legal system exists because there is a litigant who comes to court looking for justice. In the end, I thank all the organizers for giving me an opportunity to share my views and my best wishes and congratulations to all the awardees. Thank you.
What is lovely judgments, the famous judgments experienced by Justice Ori. Mr. Mathur, can I ask you one small question?
Sure.
Being the president bar with 30 years plus practice, and suddenly on 1st July you're supposed to go back to school, what do you advise our young members of the bar, even us, or that how to take this change and how to understand the new laws and how to implement them, and how to follow them and how to pursue them in court?
First, I'll tell you the lighter side to it. The lighter side to it is that every youngster should tell his client now, I need double the money to read it again. But on the more serious side, it's actually tougher for the seniors to start rehearsing what they had learned earlier and to forget what they had learned earlier and practiced all these years. And as you rightly said, after 3 decades, to start learning, it's 308, not 420. Yes, it's tough. But I am sure, and Justice Koteswar Singh also rightly said, the youngsters who are coming with a absolute choice of the profession. It's a considered choice that they are making when they are entering the profession, and their grasp, I must admit, is much quicker than what we had at our times. And all that they need to do is not to get disheartened by how the nomenclature the section has been or the ordinance has been and how the definition has changed, but just a read of the provision would tell if there is a minor change which has been brought in by the legislature, or if the language remains the same, it's only the hierarchy of the section which has changed, then the interpretations remain the same. If there is a change, yes, they still remember from the law schools the interpretation of statutes as a subject, which over the years, in 3 decades, we have forgotten. So my advice to them is simple: just read the section again. It doesn't take much for any lawyer to understand if there is a nuance or a minor change that has happened, or if there is a total transformation that has happened, or it's then open battlefield. You have open field run, you have your own chance to interpret the section yourself. There is no reason to get disheartened or to get bogged down with the fact that difficult to pronounce Indian court one, which we always read for. It's now Bhartiya Nyaya Sanhita. Whether you're able to pronounce or not, be short. So I am confident, for sure, like what people faced in the early 70s when the
Wonderful fact and wonderful way to deal with
Director now to change the
Bhartiya 420 है. That will also change. Thank you so much, Justice Ori.
Please give a round of applause to Justice Ori for his explanation of what is going to happen. And big thank you to Mr. Mathur and Mr. Singh as well. Now I would request Mr. Hon'ble Live4Freedom to come up on stage and please felicitate Justice Ori. I would request Justice Ori to please stay back for 2 minutes.
Let me remind everyone, especially those who are a part of DHCBA, that the food is not going to be served till Chetan Singh gives his vote of thanks.
And hence I request everybody who is standing, I think waiting for something, please take a seat. Please encourage all those litigants who are going to be honored today, but please be comfortable when you're doing it. So I request all of you to please take your seats and settle down. I request all of you to please take your seats. Please clear the aisles. Earlier held leave for her two stepchildren. This concern benefits for the Supreme Court ruled the favor of Bhartiya Singh. Rules was our second nomination is for Asian Foundation. In Initiatives for Inclusion Foundation versus Union of India 2023, the Supreme Court emphasized the importance of proper implementation of the Sexual Harassment at Workplace Act 2013 to ensure safer workplace for women, especially in sectors like domestic work, where women are often vulnerable. The nomination is Association for Democratic Reforms. Association for Democratic Reforms versus Union of India. The Supreme Court of India struck down a bond scheme as unconstitutional, violating the voters' right to information under Article 91A of the Constitution. The scheme, introduced in 2018, allowed anonymous political donations through bonds, which undermined transparency and allowed undue corporate influence on politics. And our nomination is VR Party versus Union of India. The petitioner was denied compassionate appointment following his father's death, a Central Railway employee, because he was from his father's second marriage. The denial was based on a railway board circular that excluded children from second marriages unless marriage was authorized by the administration. The petitioner challenged the non-grant of the compassionate appointment as well as the circular. May I request Justice Kotiswar Singh to please announce the winner in Hon'ble Judge, Union of India. Our second nominee is Pranab Jyoti Sarma in the case of Pranab Jyoti Sarma versus Assam government. The third nominee is TN Godavarman Tirumulpad in the TN Godavarman Tirumulpad versus Union of India case. These are the three nominations, and may I now request Justice Kotiswar Singh to please announce the winner in the wildlife category.
The award in the wildlife category goes to Mr. Pranab Jyoti Sharma.
In the Pranab case involving the killing of wild elephants in elephant, the Guwahati High Court dealt with serious allegations of elephant deaths caused by human activity, including the use of high-voltage electric wires and poison. The case began as a suo motu public interest litigation based on a letter written by wildlife enthusiast Pranab Jyoti Sarma, highlighting the tragic death of around 200 elephants, many of whom were hit by trains, and the broader human-elephant conflict exacerbated by illegal encroachments on forest land. The court directed the Assam government to take various steps to mitigate human-elephant conflict. This includes eviction of illegal encroachments in foreign areas to restore elephant corridors, constitution of a special task force to monitor and implement measures to protect elephants, creation of veterinary facilities for injured elephants, and the development of infrastructure like flyovers and underpasses along highways that intersect elephant corridors and elephant casualties. Now, Mr. Pranab Jyoti Sarma could not be with us today. I'd like to request Mr. Jatan Singh, Vice President, Delhi High Court Bar Association, to collect the trophy on his behalf, as well as the certificate on his behalf. The next Fight for Justice Awards category is Healthcare. The nominees in this category are the first one, Ashish Kumar Khan, CPL Ashish Kumar Chauhan versus Commanding Officer and others. The second nominee is Dr. Narendra Gupta, versus Union of India and others. May I now request Justice Kotiswar Singh to please announce the winner in the healthcare category.
The award in the healthcare category goes to Dr. Narendra Gupta.
The case of Dr. Narendra Gupta versus Union of India and others 2023 Supreme Court addressed the issue of unnecessary hysterectomies, particularly focusing on protecting women's health and ensuring informed medical practice. The key aspects of this ruling include monitoring committees. The court directed the formation of hysterectomy monitoring committee at various levels, district, state, and national, to track and audit hysterectomy cases. Implementation of guidelines. The Supreme Court mandated that all states and territories adopt the guidelines established by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare within 3 months. Grievance mechanism. The court also supported the establishment of a grievance portal for patients undergoing hysterectomies under the Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, facilitating reporting and monitoring of unnecessary procedures. Certification requirement. A significant recommendation was made that hysterectomy for women under 40 should require certification from at least 2 doctors, aiming to extend this requirement to all hysterectomy cases in the future. Informed consent and alternative treatments. The ruling stressed the importance of informed consent from parents and patients and recommended that alternative non-invasive treatments should be prioritized before resorting to surgery. May I request Dr. Narendra Gupta to please come up on stage to receive his award. May I also request Sharma, Honorary Secretary of the Delhi High Court Bar Association, to join Justice Kotiswar Singh. I would request our Chief Guest to present the Fight for Justice Awards trophy to the awardee and Mr. Sandeep Sharma to present the certificate. The next Fight for Justice Awards category is Labour, and the nominees in this category, the first nominee, Sita Mundu, in the Sita Mundu versus All India Institute of Medical Sciences case. Our second nominee is Jagdeep S. Chokar in the Jagdeep S. Chokar and another versus Union of India The third nomination is for Harsh Mandar and another versus Union of India. And the fourth nomination is Bhartiya Mukti Morcha. I would to winner in the labor category.
The award category goes to Bhartiya Mukti Morcha.
The Supreme Court ruling in the Bhartiya Mukti Morcha versus Union of India and other 1984 was a landmark case concerning the rights and freedoms of bonded laborers in Faridabad, Haryana. The case was initiated by an NGO, Bhartiya Mukti Morcha, which sought the release and rehabilitation of bonded laborers working in an exploitative condition in stone quarries. The case raised fundamental questions about labor rights, government accountability, and human dignity under the Indian Constitution. The court acknowledged that workers employed in the stone quarries of Faridabad were indeed bonded laborers. It ruled that the conditions under which they were working violated the Bonded Labor System Abolition Act 1976, which prohibits the practice of bonded labor. May I request a representative of Bhartiya Mukti Morcha to please come up on stage to receive the award. I would request Justice N, the Hon'ble Judge of Delhi High Court, to also join Justice Kotiswar Singh. I would request our Chief Guest to present the Fight for Justice trophy to the awardee and Justice Ori to please present the Fight for Justice award certificate. The next Fight for Justice award category is Tribal and ST/SC. And the nominees are, the first nominee, Samatha in the Samath versus State of Andhra Pradesh case, Meda Parkar in the Meda Parkar Narmada Bachao Andolan versus Union of India, Kailash in the Kailash and others versus State of Maharashtra 2011 case. I would now request Justice Kotiswar Singh to please announce the name of the winner in the Tribal and ST/SC category.
The award in the Tribal and SC/ST category goes to Samatha.
The Supreme Court's ruling in the Samatha versus State of Andhra Pradesh is a landmark judgment that significantly upheld the rights of tribal communities in India, particularly concerning land use and natural resource exploitation in scheduled areas. The case arose when the Andhra Pradesh government leased tribal lands to non-tribal corporations for mining activities, which violated the rights and livelihoods of indigenous populations living there. In its judgment, the Supreme Court emphasized the protective measures enshrined in the 5th schedule of the Indian Constitution, which prohibits the transfer of tribal lands to non-tribals. Mining in scheduled areas should not only be conducted by tribal themselves or through cooperatives, but informed by them, ensuring that 20% of the profit is subject to tribal communities and fund the development needs. This ruling is to prevent exploitation by outside corporations and congratulations to the winners in the category of Tribals, ST/SC. The next Fight for Justice Awards category is Women, and the nominees are Vinita Sharma in Vinita Sharma versus Rakesh Sharma case. The second nominee is the late Kamla Neti Devi versus the Special Acquisition Officers and others. The third nomination is for Indian Young Lawyers Association in the Indian Young Lawyers Association versus State of Kerala. And the fourth nomination is for Independent Thought in the case of Independent Thought versus Union of India. I would now request Justice Kotiswar Singh to please announce the winner in the women's category.
The award in the women category goes to Ms. Vinita Sharma.
The Supreme Court ruling in Vinita Sharma versus Rakesh Sharma marked a significant moment in the interpretation of women's inheritance rights under the Hindu law. In this case, the court held that daughters have the status of co-partners by birth, regardless of whether their father was alive at the time of the Hindu Succession Amendment Act 2005. The key points from the ruling include co-partnership rights. The court clarified that the 2005 amendment confers co-partnership rights on daughters, making them equal to sons in terms of inheritance in ancestral property. Birthright. The ruling emphasized that daughter's right to inheritance is based on her birth, thereby granting her the same rights and liabilities in co-partnership property as those held by sons. Overruling previous judgments, the decision overruled earlier judgments that interpreted the 2005 amendment as prospective only, which limited daughters' rights in the amendment. And legal fiction, the court established a legal framework treating daughters as co-partners from birth, regardless of the father's status at the time of the amendment, which aimed to promote gender equality in inheritance law. May I request Ms. Vinita Sharma to please come up on stage. I will also request Mrs. Sunil Mangal, partner of Live4Freedom, to please join Justice Kotiswar Singh. I will request Justice Kotiswar Singh to hand the Fight for Justice Awards trophy to the awardee. Mr. Mangal and Mr. Harmeet Singh, Trade Marketing Head, North Radco, Khaitan, to please come up on stage and present the certificate to Ms. Vinita Sharma for this category. The next Fight for Justice Awards category is Environment. And the nominees are M.K. Ranjit Singh, and in the M.K. Ranjit Singh and others versus Union of India case. And the second nomination is for Bombay Environmental Action Group in the Bombay Environmental Action Group versus State of Maharashtra 2006 case. I would request Justice Kotiswar Singh to please announce the winner in the Environment category.
The award in the environment category goes to Mr. M.K. Ranjit Singh.
The Supreme Court ruling in the N.K. Ranjit Singh and others versus Union of India addresses the complex question of environmental protection and the development of renewable energy sources in India. The case primarily involved the conservation of the Great Indian Buzzard (GIB), a critically endangered bird species, while also considering the country's commitment to renewable energy. In the judgment, the court recognized the right to be free from adverse effects of climate change as part of the fundamental right to life under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. This decision reflects the growing recognition of environmental rights in the context of climate change impacts and affirms that such rights must be protected even in the face of developmental pressures. The court emphasized the need for a balanced approach, directing that the new infrastructure projects, particularly power transmission lines, should minimize impacts on critical habitats of endangered species. It mandated that overhead transmission lines in critical GIB habitats should be replaced with underground lines where feasible, reinforcing the need to prioritize environmental conservation alongside the expansion of renewable energy sources. May I request Mr. M.K. Ranjit Singh to please come up on stage to receive this award. I will also request Mr. Amit Chadha, Treasurer, Delhi High Court Bar Association, to join Justice Kotiswar Singh. I would request Justice Kotiswar Singh to please hand the Fight for Justice Awards trophy to the awardee and Mr. Chadha to present the Fight for Justice Award certificate. The next Fight for Justice Award category specially abled. The nominees are Rajneesh Kumar Pandey in the Rajneesh Kumar Pandey versus Union of India case. The second nominee is Rakesh Kumar Kalra in the Rakesh Kumar Kalra Deaf Divyang versus State Government of NCT Delhi. And the third nomination is the Rajiv Raturi versus Union of India case. I would request Justice Kotiswar Singh to please announce the winner in the specially abled category.
Award in specially abled category goes to Rajiv.
The Supreme Court's ruling in Rajiv Raturi versus Union of India 2017 is the landmark case that significantly advanced the rights of people with disabilities in India. The case arose from a public interest litigation filed by Rajiv Raturi, who sought better access to public facilities and services for disabled individuals, particularly emphasizing the need for accessible transport. The Supreme Court recognized that the right to life under Article 21 of the Constitution encompasses not only the physical existence of life, but also the quality of life. The court held that for persons living with disabilities, especially in hilly areas, access to road and transportation is crucial for their ability to live with dignity and participate fully in society. The court emphasized that the state has an obligation to ensure that public infrastructure is inclusive and accessible. May I request Mr. Rajiv Raturi to please come up on stage. I would request Mr. Nagendra Velipal, Joint Secretary, Delhi High Court Bar Association, to join Justice Kotiswar Singh. I would request Justice Kotiswar Singh to hand over the Fight for Justice Awards trophy to the awardee and Mr. Velipal to present the Fight for Justice Award certificate. The next Fight for Justice Awards category is Criminal, and the nominees in this category are Lakshmi Agarwal in the Lakshmi Agarwal versus Union of India 2014 case, Joseph Shine in the Joseph Shine versus Union of India 2017 case, and Common Cause, a registered society versus Union of India and another 2018 case. I would request Justice Kotiswar Singh to please announce the winner in the criminal category.
The award in the criminal category goes to Ms. Lakshmi Agarwal.
The Supreme Court case Lakshmi Agarwal versus Union of India 2014 addressed critical issues surrounding asset attacks in India. Lakshmi Agarwal, an asset attack survivor, filed a public interest litigation seeking regulatory measures for asset sales, compensation for victims, and improved medical care. Lakshmi was attacked with acid by a man whose marriage proposal she had rejected. The attack led to severe physical and psychological trauma. Following the attack, the assailants were convicted, but the victim faced challenges when the perpetrators were granted bail, prompting her to seek intervention from the Supreme Court. Lakshmi's PIL sought a ban on the sale of acid and its classification as a scheduled banned chemical, amendments to existing laws to address acid attacks specifically, guidelines for prosecuting acid throwers and rehabilitating victims. The Supreme Court's ruling resulted in significant reforms, including the introduction of Section 326A and 326B in the Indian Penal Code, specifically criminalizing acid attacks, the establishment of minimum compensation of 3 lakh rupees for acid attack victims, and guidelines ensuring comprehensive medical assistance and treatment for survivors, including obligations for hospitals to provide free treatment. May I request Ms. Lakshmi Agarwal to please come up on stage. I would also request Mr. Hon'ble Judge's partner, Live4Freedom, to join Justice Kotiswar Singh, and to request our chief guest to hand over the Fight for Justice Award trophy to the awardee and to present the certificate to Lakshmi. The next Fight for Justice Awards category is and nominees are Shabnam Hashmi in the Shabnam Hashmi versus Union of India 2014 case. The second nominee is Sampurna Behura, and this was regarding the public interest litigation addressing the plight of children in shelter homes. I would now request Justice Kotiswar Singh to please announce the winner in the child rights category.
The award in the child rights category goes to Ms. Sampurna Behura.
The Supreme Court ruling in the Sampurna Behura versus Union of India focused on the welfare of children and juveniles in shelter homes in India. The case highlighted serious issues related to the functioning of these institutions and the rights of children who are supposed to be protected under various laws. The case was brought by Sampurna Behura, a social activist, through a public interest litigation addressing the plight of children in shelter homes across the country. The petition cited numerous reports revealing appalling conditions in these homes, including abuse, neglect, and inadequate facilities, which directly violated the rights of children. July 27, 2008, the Supreme Court ordered the central and state governments to take comprehensive measures to improve response. The case brought attention to the alarming issue of honor killings in India and the need for the judiciary to take a firm stance against such acts. On December 5, 2020, the Supreme Court upheld the conviction of Vikas Yadav and his accomplices for the murder of Nitish Katara. The court emphasized the need for strict punishment for honor killings and recognized them as a violation of fundamental rights, particularly the right to life and personal liberty under Article 21 of the Constitution. The judgment also reinforced the state's obligation to protect citizens from such heinous crimes and called for comprehensive measures to prevent honor-based violence. In the ruling, Neelam Katara versus Union of India was significant for several reasons. One, reinforcement of rights. The Supreme Court acknowledged the severity of honor killings and underscored the necessity of protecting individual rights against societal pressures. Awareness and advocacy. Neelam Katara's relentless fight for justice contributed to greater awareness of honor killings and encouraged legal and social discourse on the need for reform. And judicial precedent. The case set a precedent for handling honor cases in the Indian legal system, emphasizing the judiciary's role in addressing societal issues and upholding justice. Neelam Katara's journey reflects the challenges faced by families affected by honor killings and the importance of robust legal framework to combat such violence in the society. Her advocacy not only sought justice for her son, but also aimed to catalyze broader changes in societal attitudes and legal protections against honor-based violence. Ms. Neelam Katara is traveling and could not be with us today. May I request Justice Manoj Kumar Ori, the Hon'ble Judge of the Delhi High Court, Ms. Vindhya Malik, social activist who was part of the Justice for Nitish Katara movement, and Mr. Jatin Singh, Vice President, Delhi High Court Bar Association, to receive the award on Ms. Katara's behalf. May I request our Chief Guest to hand over the Fight for Justice Awards trophy and the certificate to the representative of Ms. Katara. Ladies and gentlemen, those were the 11 award categories and our worthy award winners. Thank you, Justice Kotiswar Singh, for giving away the awards and being our chief guest today. Please give him a round of applause. May I now request all the award winners to please come up on stage for a group photograph with the chief guest and other dignitaries on stage. So I request all the award winners to please come up on stage with their trophies for a group photograph. I request all of them to come up on the award winners to come up on stage with their trophies, please. Congratulations to all the winners. Thank you for inspiring everyone to keep fighting the good fight. I just would request our chief guests to stay on stage for a minute. We would like to present a token of appreciation to you. I would request Mr. Sunil Mangal, partner, Live4Freedom, to present a token gift to Justice Kotiswar Singh. Thank you to all the dignitaries for encouraging the award winners. I would now like to request Sri Jatan Singh, Vice President of the Delhi High Court Bar Association, to give the vote of thanks. Our other dignitaries can take their seats off the stage.
There is a caveat. Before me, Justice Koteshwar Singh wants to say something.
Sorry, I'm getting the protocol. I'm literally snatching the mic from Jatanji. But just wanted to share. See, as a judge and lawyers, all of us, see, day in and day out, we pass these orders, then we issue that in terms of so and so, so and so. Wonderful, it's the kind of experience I'm undergoing right now. It's absolutely unexplainable. I mean, I'm saying, please, if you find the law books, black and white, that, kind of black and white, kind of data, you can see them alive, kind of, and these people, I mean, individuals, they have inspired our generations, lawyers, judges. We keep reading about these judgments, and we say we quote them when we are lawyers, and as judges also we cite them and are writing directions. It's so wonderful. In fact, I know this is perhaps, had I been a Chief Justice of a High Court, I would have really taken this entire team in my High Court. Unfortunately, as a Supreme Court judge, I don't have that mandate, nor that capacity. I would have loved to take you, and show them this is what this Indian, our system, legal system is not just about law and, lawyers and the books. These are the people who make the law, who enable the court to make the laws also. It's really inspiring. Personally, I'm very, very thankful that I have been part of this. I didn't know much about this. Then I went through, of course, then I was very excited. And my joy knows no bound when I met them personally with each and of these individuals who have done so much for enrichment of not only the law, but our rule of law, our democracy. Thank you so much again.
On the lighter note, ये जितने भी कैंडिडेट बाहर खड़े हैं ना, उनको मैंने मार्क कर लिया. जो आके नहीं बैठे हैं सीटों पर. Hon'ble Justice N Kotiswar Singh, Judge Supreme Court of India, Justice Rajendra Menon, former Chief Justice of Delhi High Court and Chairman of the Jury for Fight for Justice Award, Justice Manoj Puri, Judge Delhi High Court, and a special guest to speak on Bhartiya Nyaya Sanhita, 2023, Mr. Mohit Mathur and Sandeep Sharma, President and Secretary of the Bar, and my lovely esteemed colleagues in the Executive Committee of Delhi High Court Bar Association, Mr. Anand Bharadwaj, Mr. Navroz Dondi, and Mr. Sunil Mangal from Live4Freedom, Mrs. Vijay Lakshmi Barara, wife of Justice Koteshwar Singh, senior advocates, members of the Bar Council, especially the Secretary of the Bar Council, Mr. Rajesh Misra, sitting, former Secretary of the Bar Council, Mr. Sanjay Rathi, he is also sitting, President of the New Delhi Bar Association, Mr. Jagdeep Vats, and ladies and gentlemen, I will not take much time. I will only say, and I am very happy for a parent, the first birthday of his child is very, very important. And today, our baby has grown and entered into the second year. The baby fight for justice has grown and taken the second year, this is the second edition. So I am personally very happy because this idea came to me in 2019 when Mr. Mangal met us and he said that I have an idea and we can go ahead, the bar should be associated. And when I discussed the idea with Mr. Mohit Mathur and Mr. Abhijat, I think they have immediately responded and accepted this idea, and we went ahead and meetings, and that the first happened in the Lalit Hotel last year on 18th December 2023. I will not say, because now everything is said about the awards and the kind of people. I must congratulate all of you, those who have now today got the Fight for Justice Award. Congratulations to you, and you truly deserve it. As a vote of thanks, because members are here, I would not waste my time on that. But I have duty to sponsor, a duty to say vote of thanks to our sponsors. So our sponsors, NTPC, Oil India, REC, and NBC. Our implementation partner, R-Connect, our equipment partner and collateral partner, Grover Audio Visual Services, our hospitality partner, India Habitat Center, our marketing partner, Yetages, and our tireless master of ceremonies, Anisha Nayyar Dhawan. Finally, I believe that this, everything would have not been possible in my executive committee. 3 people, though all are very important, but 3 people who have contributed are Mr. Nagendra Benipal. We, 2-3 days, we just sat and invited number of advocates, and every advocate must have received either his signature or my signature, the invites. I would like to thank Mr. Nitesh Mehra, Vandana Kaur Grover, and the team of the researchers. They are the core of this program. Ready ko Khetan, जो आफ्टर 7 PM का जो आगे बाहर लगा हुआ है सेटअप, तो रेडी को खेतान का है. So please enjoy your breakfast. These researchers, and they are all working as law researchers in one court or the other, and they have provided inputs in the first also and the second also. 2 of our researchers have gone abroad. Asas Puri was working with Justice Seema Kohli as a law researcher, and Ananya, she was working with Justice Siddharth Nehru. So they really worked hard last year, and this year also they kept coming, but since they have to go out for their studies, all the best to them. Now, last but not the least, for our partnership of Live4Freedom and Delhi High Court Bar Association, I have just a very small couplet. दोस्ती अच्छी हो तो रंग लाती है, दोस्ती अच्छी हो तो रंग लाती है, दोस्ती गहरी हो तो सबको भाती है. दोस्ती गहरी हो तो सबको भाती है, दोस्ती नादान है हो तो टूट जाती है। दोस्ती नादान हो तो टूट जाती है, पर अगर दोस्ती लिव फॉर फ्रीडम और हाईकोर्ट बार एसोसिएशन जैसी हो तो इतिहास बनाती है। और ये हिस्ट्री जो है, आई थिंक कोई इस कंट्री नो अदर बार एसोसिएशन इज डूइंग, एंड वी हैव अ वेरी ग्रेट फैंटास्टिक आइडिया व्हिच आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू डिस्क्लोज। हमारे लॉयर SM मनिंदर सिंह है, इज अ फैबुलस सिंगर। तो ऐसे लॉयर्स के लिए भी दिल्ली हाईकोर्ट बार एसोसिएशन इज कमिंग आउट with an event called Lawyers Got Talent. So you come out with this. We have an idea in the mind. We have an idea in the mind, and before we go to the next elections, we will definitely have it. And thank you everyone for coming. Thanks everyone. The families are here, the awardees are here, their families are there. So everybody, thank you very much. Now I invite you for the dinner, which is served outside. Please, Mr. Kirti Uppal is here. Did I not say that dinner is served outside? And drinks also. Drinks also.